Psalm 73. I'm going to read the whole thing. While you get there, we are, like Mike said, we are or almost finished, a series called It Is Well. And we just really feel like God wants to encourage every single one of you that it is well. In this time, at the end of the year, sometimes things can get a little bit rough. Money can look a little bit strenuous. But we just want to encourage you guys and let you guys know, because we feel God wants to communicate to you that it is well. In this season, no matter what you're going through, what you're facing, it is well. God has your back. Amen. Is anybody with me this morning? God has your back. It is well. You have a good God behind you, cheering you on. So that is good. This morning, the message I have to preach, the word that I feel God wants me to communicate this morning is it's not like the easiest word to communicate. So I hope you guys are ready to be challenged. You guys ready to be challenged? Yeah? Awesome. So we're going to read the whole psalm, and I am not the strongest reader, so do not judge me. Okay, here we go. Psalm 73 verses 1 says, "Surely God is good in Israel, to those who are pure in heart. But as for me, my feet almost slipped. I had nearly lost my foothold. I envied the arrogant when I saw the prosperity of the wicked. They have no struggles. Their bodies are healthy and strong. They are free from common human burdens. They are not plagued with human ills. Therefore pride is their necklace, and they clothe themselves with violence. From their callous hearts comes iniquity. Their evil imaginations have no limits. They scoff and speak with malice, with arrogance, and threaten with oppression. Their mouths lay claim to heaven. Their tongues take possession of the earth. Therefore, their people turn to them and drink up waters of abundance. They say, how would God know? How would God know? Does the Most High know anything? This is what the wicked are like. Always free of care, they go on amassing wealth. Surely in vain I have kept my heart pure. I have washed my hands in innocence. All day long I've been afflicted, and every morning brings new punishments." Has anyone felt like this guy? You're looking at what other people have. You're looking at, you're trying to do your thing. You're trying to honor God with your life. And sometimes you're like, why am I going through the hard stuff? Why am I struggling when people who aren't even doing that are thriving? They appear to be thriving and doing so well. Has anybody felt this way before? Does anyone relate to this psalmist? It continues. If I had spoken out like that, I would have betrayed your children. When I tried to understand all this, it troubled me deeply. And here's the kicker, here's the turning point. Verse 17, "Till I entered the sanctuary of God, then I understood their final destination. Surely you place them on slippery ground. You cast them down to ruin. How suddenly are they destroyed, completely swept by terrors? They are like a dream when one awakes. When you arise, Lord, you will despise the fantasies. When my heart was grieved and my spirit was embittered, I was senseless and ignorant. I was a brute beast before you. Yet I am always with you. You hold me by my right hand. You guide me with your counsel, and afterward you will take me into glory. Whom have I in heaven but you? And heaven has nothing I desire besides you. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever." Somebody say amen. Amen. "Those who are far from you will perish. You destroy all those who are unfaithful to you. But as for me, it is good to be near God. I have made the sovereign Lord my refuge. I will tell of all your deeds." Let's pray. Lord God, I pray in this place, Father, that you will encourage every single one of us. That we will know and get a full revelation, the full revelation that this psalmist had for us, Lord. that He had, Lord God, that when we enter your sanctuary, God, that we have all we need, Lord. In your presence we have all we need. And God, encourage every one of us in this season as we approach the end of the year. I thank you, God. In your mighty name, everyone said, Amen. I remember Christmas time very, very well. Because every single, from when I was a young person, of course. When I was growing up, every single Christmas Eve, our family would have a family gathering. So my dad's side of the family, they are very Dutch, and we have a gathering every Christmas Eve. My dad is one of 8 kids. And so, obviously, those 8 kids got married, so that doubles the amount of people. Then they had a whole bunch of children, so they're all my cousins, right? And now they have all got their kids, and so it's just a massive thing, right? It's a massive gathering every single year. I remember growing up, it was probably better than Christmas, really, this day, because we would get to this gathering, and there would just be a time where the family's together, sitting around, and someone comes out dressed as Santa Claus, and they're giving out presents, and as you can imagine, as a little kid, as a 6-year-old or whatever, that's a really exciting thing. You get a whole bunch of, you see the presents under the Christmas tree, you're just waiting for your turn, you're waiting for your present from your grandma or whatever. And so, it's a super exciting time. I remember this one time though, my brother, when he got his present, see, at the time, I was really into Action Man. Does anyone remember Action Man? If you're a 90s kid, you probably remember it the most. Action Man was the thing, right? It was super, super cool. My brother, my older brother, who's 4 years older than me, he got his present. And so I'm sitting around my brother, because I'm like, dude, whatever's yours is mine, right? So I'm sitting there, and he's unwrapping the present. And I remember my jaw just dropping and my heart just being so excited, but at the same time so envious. Because what he unwrapped was the biggest and the coolest Action Man Jeep I had ever seen in my life. I looked at it and I remember just thinking, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen. Right, this thing had a cannon on the back of it which shot things, right? I was like, man, I got a sister and a brother I can shoot with that. I was like, this thing is so cool. You can put your Action Man in the Jeep. You can drive it around. We had a backyard and a few dirt mounds and stuff just in the garden there that we used to use. And it was just like, everything went through my head. I'm like, this would be the coolest thing to have, but it's not mine. It's not mine. And I remember just feeling like, why didn't I get an Action Man Jeep? So I'm just waiting for my turn. I'm like, come on, I'm going to get this Action Man, I'm going to get something. And I didn't get the Action Man Jeep. I'm like, I was devastated, right? But I got a Jeep later on. But it wasn't the official Action Man Jeep, you know what I mean? It was like, it was a Jeep, but it didn't shoot stuff. And so I had my thing and Caleb had his, but every now and again I'm just like, man, I want that Action Man Jeep. I want it so bad. And I just I want to use this story to sort of illustrate the fact that I'm sure in all of our lives we have an experience where we have looked at something somebody else has had and felt envious of it, yeah? Am I alone here this morning? We've all looked at something and gone, man, I want that. I want that so bad. In doing some research for this message this morning, I was looking at the definition of envy, and a lot of people get jealousy and envy mixed up. But jealousy and envy are very different things. Envy is literally just looking at what somebody else has and desiring something that does not belong to you, right? And I think, how many times have we, as just human beings flawed in our nature, how many times have we looked at something that doesn't belong to us? How many times have we surrendered or submitted ourselves to this drive called envy in order to attain what we have envied? And compromising the things of God that God has been offering us. Does that make sense to anybody here? I believe, and I have seen with my own eyes, envy robbing people of their destiny. I've seen the motivation of envy destroy or rob people, or maybe even
detour people from what God was calling them into in their life. Does this make sense? You look at when I was reading this scripture, I was going through the Psalms last year, and it was like one of the best things I've ever done. And when I got up to Psalm 81, it said this verse in verse 9. It says, "You shall have no foreign god among you. You shall not worship any god other than me." And I stopped right there because I'd seen this so many times through the Old Testament. If you read it, you see it's like, "Do not worship any other god other than me." And it's actually a common problem that comes up with Israel. For some reason, they had this fascination with other idols. For some reason, they had this fascination with serving another god. And I remember thinking, what is their fascination? What is going on with Israel? God has provided them with so much favor. Like if you even look through, just even that before they became a nation and found the promised land, they were just like constantly groaning, right? Constantly envying other things. And I'm just like, what is their issue? God provided them manna in the wilderness. God opened the sea for them. And when He established them as a nation, He cleared out all the threats. He protected their borders. And yet they still wanted what other nations had. Like there's a part of the narrative in the story of Israel where God's happy with the tribes of Israel living in the borders that He's given them. And they said, "We want a king." And He's like, "Okay, you want a king." Obviously there's a prophet called Samuel that they are speaking to. They're saying, "We want God to give us a king." And he's saying, "Aren't you happy with God being your king?" And they're like, "No, we want to be like the other nations. We want to be like them. We want to have a king." And He says, "Okay, we will give you what you want, but if you have a king, he will send your young men into battle and they will die for Him. If you get a king, he will tax you." You know, and so they were having this envious thing, serving other idols over and over again. We want what they have. Because, as I was thinking through these things, through this one scripture, I was drawn back to Psalm 73. The thing that we just read out where He says, "I envied the arrogant." I looked at what they had. And I'd even be tempted to read it out again. He says, "They have no struggles. Their bodies are healthy and strong. They are free from common human burdens. They are not plagued by human ills." I have seen throughout my years as a youth pastor and just even as a youth leader, I've seen so many young people, time and time again, be driven by a picture of something they want to attain that is opposite to what God has spoken over their life. And so out of their desire to attain, out of their envy, going back to that description of envy being something that is not yours, if God is calling you to something else and you're desiring something that's over there, you're desiring something that God has not planned for you. Because what is yours is the fullness of God, the abundant life of Christ that He has offered you, right? And so there's a number of different things I've seen. First, some of the major things that people sacrifice their calling for, or allow their destinies to be robbed from them for, is maybe it's a financial issue. Some people, I've met some young men that they've come to me and God has 100% clearly spoken to them and said, "God has told me He wants me to go to Bible college next year and go into ministry." And I'm like, "Awesome, cool, man, that's between you and God, awesome. I'm going to help you with that." And over time, I've seen them go, "You know what, financially it doesn't make sense. I'm stressing out. My parents are on my back. You know, I'm just, and they go through these different struggles. And I've obviously I haven't tried to pressure them with anything at all, but I've seen them go from this passionate young man of God in our youth ministry to being controlled by these desires to is this making sense to anybody? I hope it's not too real. I've seen there's two guys that come to mind. I won't mention their names, but it was years ago before I was a youth pastor, and they still love God, but they're not walking with God right now, And I'm just like, they were completely directed by their desire, the desire to be financially secure. Because if you have the world's conversation in your hand, You got Instagram and Facebook, it's showing you a picture constantly. Even on the TV, it's showing you a picture constantly of what you should have. Right from the day you were born, it says, you've got to have this cologne, you've got to have this house, you've got to have this kind of car, you've got to have this kind of girlfriend or boyfriend, you've got to have these kinds of things. This is what's going to make you happy. This. And so because this is being thrown in our faces, we're often going, yes, this is what I want. Yes, this is what I want. This is what I want. And God, none of those things are necessarily bad, but sometimes we can pursue things that are not God's will for our life. And out of an envious drive to attain those things, we can often compromise the calling of God on our life. And I've seen this time and time again. For some people, it's financial. For some people, it's a relationship issue. Some people get into a relationship that is not healthy for them, that is actually going to drive them or pull them away from God, God's calling on their life. And so you can come alongside them and counsel them and disciple them, but they've got to make a decision. It's a hard one. It's even hard to communicate from a message because it's a little bit of a touchy subject. But people have often been driven away from God. And I've seen this, and you may have seen this yourself. You may have experienced this yourself. People have often, I've seen this with young people, have walked away from God, walked away from a relationship with God because a relationship came into their life that took them away from it. And now we are all called to be in love, like God has obviously put this in our makeup to have somebody with us in our lives, and so it's not a bad thing. But certain relationships, as you know, can take us away from it or steer us in a direction that is walking away from God. Does that make any sense to anybody? It's for other people. I remember some young men that were so passionate about God. So passionate about leading people to Jesus. In fact, I remember that there was this one particular guy who was super influential. And a whole bunch of people started coming to youth, our youth group, because this guy he was a really popular guy, but he was so in love with God. He saw some miracles happen in front of him, and he's like, man, this Jesus thing is real. This God thing is real. And so he took it upon himself to bring people to youth, but throughout the course of the year, some things went down in his life, and he just got tempted with all these different temptations of the world. How many of you know when you get to the end of your year 12 year, there's so many temptations that can come your way, so many things that get thrown at you. And so with the issues that were happening in his life and all the mates that he was hanging out with, all the temptations of the world were surrounding him. There were girls, there was drugs, there was party life, there was alcohol, and he was looking at all of it, and it was just like there was this wrestle I could see within him, and he's like, do I choose the good things that God has for me, or do I choose this? And my desire is, I'm being torn by this desire to go either way. And oftentimes people choose the thing that is not the will of God for their life, because we're human beings, but I'm just trying to illustrate here. Envy can drive us away from God. Envy, as I was doing research on this, they described it as envy is one of those things. It's like a silent assassin that often goes unnoticed. Something that can be controlling and directing our lives, but we are so unaware of it. And it's like this silent assassin in our lives. And if we can become aware of this one thing and realize that my life is not to serve my own desires. My life is not to serve my own will. I'm here to serve the will of God. And when I do that, that would be the most satisfying thing I could ever do. That's going to fulfill me more than anything else this world has to offer, more than any other relationship, more than any other job, more than any other thing that is offered to me in this world. Serving God actually completes me, actually fulfills me. And I know there are people in this room this morning that know that to be true. There are people in this room that have walked away from a worldly life. You have gone through a worldly life and you've come back and you know this to be true. Your own life testifies of this to be true, that God's will for your life is the best thing for you. See, envy, if it drives us, will rob us of our destiny. And there are a few effects of envy that I'd like to just bring up. When we envy people, there's a comparison thing that happens. we look at what they have and we look at what we have. And I wrote here, comparison either makes you feel superior or inferior, and neither of them honor God. If you're looking at what somebody has, it either makes you feel inferior to them or superior to them, and neither of those things honor God. Neither of those things honor God. You think about the parable, right, that Jesus told of the workers in the vineyard. Jesus employs a bunch of people at different times throughout the day. Some people work for the entire day. Some people work for just an hour of the day. And as the story goes, the owner of the vineyard, it gets to the end of the day, and he starts to pay the workers, and he starts with the ones who have worked the least, and he gives them the portion of money that he offered to all of the workers, especially the ones who worked the entire day, right? He offers them the portion that he offered to everyone. And so, at the end of the line are the guys that work the whole day. So they're seeing the money that's been given to the guys who've worked 1 hour in a day, and they're like, oh, heck yes, that means we're going to get so much more than we were offered. But Jesus tells the story that this guy who owns the vineyard, he pays them all the same. And there's this dispute, or this sort of groaning that happens within them. And they're like, how come they got paid the exact same that I did when I worked more than them? Right? How come it's just not fair. I've worked an entire day, they've worked an hour, we got paid the same? That doesn't make any sense. How many people have you felt that way? You've looked at something that somebody else has been given. Maybe God's blessed someone in front of you. Maybe someone's blessed, like a neighbor, or you've looked at them and you're like, how come they get to have, a flashy car? How come they get to have a happy marriage? And sometimes it can be just a big illusion, because how many of you know only the highlights go on Facebook and Instagram, right? Only the highlights go up there. So we can often be looking at it as just this comparison thing, and it's super unhealthy. But unfortunately, we can be driven by that comparison, and it just leads us down a path that will hurt us and be destructive towards us. The second thing I want to bring up, that envy the second effect of envy is that, like I mentioned before, there's an incredible compromise. I remember there's compromise about faith, about standards, about calling. Sometimes we compromise our standards in order to attain or fast track our desires. Even desires which are good desires. So, say for example, if you're single in this room, the desire to have someone in your life is a good one. But oftentimes you see people try and fast track that when it's not God's time for their life. And they often compromise having a man or a woman of God and just try and look for anyone that will have them. Does that make any sense? I remember just so many times in my life serving God and just thinking, man, it would be so easy right now to just let everything go. All the pressures on my life right now, it would be so easy to just push to the side and just do something easy. Do a 9-to-5 job or a 5-day-a-week job and just go to church and just enjoy it. Maybe just serve on the worship team but not lead. Man, it'd be so much easier if I was just a builder or a cop or something like that. Something just make money, have a house, have the car that I want, have all the things that I want. It'd be so much easier. But I love when I was reading a book called Live, Love, Live by Brian Houston, the leader of Hillsong Church Global. He was telling the story about how he saw a guy who was mowing the lawn one time on a holiday, and he thought to himself really quickly, he's just like, man, that would be such a nice job. It would be so much easier than what I'm doing. How effortless and how much, there's just no pressure with that job. I would love to just do something like that, something with no pressure. But then he said, man, I will never compromise my calling for comfort. I will never compromise my calling for comfort. And some of us need to get this attitude in our head and in our heart that we cannot compromise what God is calling us into, what God is leading us into. We cannot compromise those things for our own desires, for our own envy, for our own comfort. Sometimes comfort is just it's a killer. Because we just want it so much. Like even the just stepping out in faith to share our faith with people, that's a scary thing. So in our own comfort, sometimes we don't say stuff when we know the Holy Spirit is bugging us to say something to somebody. You know, we choose comfort over calling. But we need to choose calling over comfort. Now here's the turning point, right? In verse 17, the whole thing, he's just going, the psalmist is saying, look at what they've got. They don't get sick. Nothing seems to go wrong for them. In fact, they're thriving and things are getting better for them. And he's just complaining. And but then it gets to this point in verse 17, he says, and then I entered the sanctuary. Then I entered the sanctuary. And the way he describes it, it's almost like this moment of clarity comes over his mind. He says, I entered the sanctuary. Just got to look for it on my laptop, which is great technology. Come on, work with me. Awesome. Till I entered the sanctuary of God, then I understood. Till I entered the sanctuary and then I understood. See, some of us just need to get into the presence of God. If there is a wrestle in your spirit, look at Israel, right? There was this wrestle. Do we serve God or do we go after our desires? Do we serve God or do we go after desires? That narrative is so familiar to my life. Is anyone with me? It's so familiar to the narrative of our lives. Right? Well, this is just wrestle. Do I chase my earthly desires or do I obey the will of God? Do I listen to the wisdom that I find in Scripture? Do I listen to the wisdom of God in my life, pointing me in a direction I may not want to go in? A direction that may be uncomfortable for me. Do I listen to that? Or do I listen to my desires? It's something that's so familiar to us. And it says, till I entered the sanctuary, then I understood. Some of us just need to get into the presence of God. Because when we get into the presence of God, there is clarity. Amen? When you get into the presence of God, there is just so much clarity. I love. It says in Psalm 84, verse 10, better is one day in your courts than 1,000 elsewhere. I would rather be a doorkeeper in the house of God than dwell in the tents of the wicked. I love it. We just need to get in the presence of God. I've shared this story before, but I just want to share it again. With our youth ministry, before we start youth, this is something that we started last year. The Holy Spirit just said to me, because I found when we got into leaders meetings and when we got into prayer meetings before youth, a lot of times people would just be like really run down in their heart, right? They'd be really just like, and so it would just be really hard. Like, hey guys, let's pray. Let's believe in faith. Let's believe that God is going to do something. And I was like, okay, all right. And they just pray from their head, not their heart. They just be like, God, Lord, just God, I just pray that people just know your love. Amen. And it's just been like, it's just like be so unenthusiastic, right? So dead, so dull. People like some of the prayers they were praying were so negative. I'm like, I don't even know what to do right now, right? And so at the start I was roughly around the start of last year, I just saw God. I think I just one time I just bought a guitar in just to worship because I felt that's what the Holy Spirit wanted me to do. And God showed me through that experience that He was saying, you have this gift to lead people in worship just on a guitar in a room. He's like, use this to build the faith of your people. And so as we started worshiping, our leaders meetings just started becoming really passionate and enthusiastic. Our prayer meetings, which we now call pre-services, because that's pretty much what they are, right? We just started coming alive. And so it became a time where the team got energized and got clarity in mind. People were still walking in with the same problems. People still walking in a little bit discouraged by maybe something that happened in setup, right? Or maybe something a kid said to them or another peer said to them, right? Or maybe the way they were treated throughout the day. People still walking in with discouragement, but when they walked out, because they entered the presence of God, we were tackling our leaders meetings, tackling our youth meetings with so much more passion and clarity of mind, because when you get into the presence of God, you get clarity of mind. You get direction, you get vision, you realize the things that are bugging you, the things that are drawing you and tempting you, the things that are pulling you down. In this case, coming to envy, the things that are drawing you and drawing you away from the will of God, you begin to see how small they are, how unimportant they are to you. Because when you get in the presence of God, you see how big He is, how good He is, how amazing He is. Is anybody with me this morning? If you get into the presence of God, see David at Ziklag, it's an awesome name for a place. Ziklag. I should fire the guy that named that one. Yarrabil was a better name than that. Ziklag. They show up, him and his mighty men, his army. They rock up to the place where their families are living, and all of it is gone. All their wealth, all their families has been taken away by some group of, what's the name? It's just the word's lost. Raiders, that's the one. Cool, go Canberra. No. The Raiders, it took away the family and their wealth. And so David's men, as you know the story, some of you may not, David's men go to turn on him and want to kill him. So what does David do? He gets into the presence of God. He's like, what the heck are we going to do? He gets into the presence of God and says that he strengthened himself in the presence of God. And from that place, he was able to make a decision which got all those things back, right? We need to get into the presence of God. If you go down to verse 26 of the psalm that we read out, it's a scripture that's tapping on my arm because I love it so much and it means so much to me. My flesh and my heart may fail, but God is the strength of my heart and my portion forever. My portion forever. Do you realize what you have? Do you realize the bigness of God in our lives? Do you realize the goodness of God in our lives? Do you realize that at the end of your life, if you never experience wealth, if you never experience some of the desires that you may have, that you're not going to take it with you to the grave anyway. You're not going to take it with you in eternity. But also, do you realize that at the end of your life, your portion is not what you've earned in this life. Your portion is Jesus. Your greatest wealth is your relationship with God. Your greatest treasure is knowing Jesus, because at the end of your life there is an eternity that waits for you. At the end of your life there is a place that God has prepared for you. An eternal glory where there is no pain, there is no suffering, there is no struggling. There is the one and only, most fulfilling, almighty God, whose love is greater than anything else we can face in this world. His love is greater than any relationship we ever have. He is good. He is our portion. Even in this life, He is our portion. The fact that He took our entire record out of the cabinet that records our whole life, took it out and put His record in there, the perfect record, the sinless record. That is a gift that you will never be able to return. That is the gift that you will never be able to pay back. It is the greatest gift you'll ever get. That love and that grace is greater. He is our portion, amen. He is our portion. The Bible says that if you how do you say it? You got it? If you try to hold on to your life, that's the side of it. I'm going to go the last half, see that's the only part some more. If you try and hold on to your life, if you try to hold on to your life, it's gone. If you try to hold on to it, it's gone. And so out of envy, we're chasing. We're trying to hold on to it because of our desires that have been driven by envy. The last half says if you lose your life for my sake, you will find life. And I found in my life that is so true. You will find life. You will find life when you give it up for God. There are so many things, and it's so hard for me to give up. Like an actual wrestle. And I found that the only way I could give it up is if I got on my knees before God, got into the presence of God, and just allow Him to give me clarity, to understand that He is the greatest treasure. That what He is leading me into is better than anything else my desires could lead me into. Better than anything this world could lead me into. And in verse 28 it says, "But as for me, it is good to be near God. And I have made the sovereign Lord my refuge. I will tell of your deeds." See, a refuge is that symbolism, that imagery of, there were these things called the city of refuge. There were 6 cities of refuge throughout Israel. And so the city of refuge would be a place where if you had committed a crime, I think it was just a murder, and you were innocent of it, you could run to the city of refuge and be safe from people that wanted to cause you harm in revenge for that murder. Right? And in that city of refuge, you were protected by law, and you would get a fair trial. And so a refuge is this, in Scripture, it represents safety, fairness, peace, and rest from turmoil. And I love it that he illustrates God as His refuge, because in His presence there is clarity, there is this safety, we realize that He is a fair God. He's not trying to rob us. The world's trying to rob us. The devil's trying to rob us. He's the one who comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And if we submit ourselves to the ways of our flesh and the ways of this world, we will be robbed. But if we pursue God, we'll find life, because He is our refuge. In Him we are safe from turmoil. We can rest from the turmoil. We can find peace. How many times have you gotten to the presence of God and just got the peace that you needed? You know? I just want to finish with this scripture. What I really want to encourage you guys this morning to do is not only get in the presence of God, but actually learn to trust Him. Jeremiah describes trust as, it says, those who trust in the Lord are like a tree planted by the river. I see that imagery come up a lot. A tree planted by the river. And it's constantly strong, its leaves never wither, produces fruit, goes through the same thing that you see in Psalm 1. And trusting in the Lord makes you strong. And if anyone knew, it was definitely Jeremiah. Someone who's constantly persecuted. But I love in Psalm 37 verses 4 to 9, it says, "Take delight in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." Somebody say amen. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do this. He will make your righteous reward shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord and wait patiently for Him. Do not fret when people succeed in their ways. Does that ring any bells? Do not fret when people succeed in their ways, when they carry out their wicked schemes. Refrain from anger and turn from wrath. Do not fret, it leads only to evil. For those who are evil will be destroyed, but those who hope in the Lord will inherit the land. I wonder what would have happened to some of my friends, and I still believe God's pursuing them, amen. But I know that they're coming home, because I believe in prodigal sons, amen. And I wonder what would happen to some of the people that I've encountered in my life if they choose to follow the will of God instead of their own envy. And maybe that's a question you need to ask yourself. What would my life look like right now if I decided to pursue the will of God in my life instead of pursuing the envies that I'm being driven by? Does that make sense? I want you to know that you can trust God, that His will for you is so much more satisfying than what you're pursuing. And so I'd like us to just stand. We're going to worship, but yeah, why don't you just stand on your feet? I would like to, we're going to worship and sing this bridge, but I'd like to open up the floor to anyone that would just like to get into the sanctuary. That would like to get into that moment where they just get into the sanctuary, where they can receive clarity from God. if there's a wrestle in your spirit and you feel like God's leading you one way and your heart is leading you another, or your desires are leading you another, get into the sanctuary. I encourage you, get into the sanctuary. Take a step of faith, a step of boldness. Step forward and go, you know what, I need to get in the sanctuary and just allow the Holy Spirit to make it clear for me. Give clarity to my heart. Give me the strength in my heart so that I can walk boldly into the things He's calling me into. Is that cool? So why don't you just raise your hands? We're going to start